Welcome back to the Strength and Speed Podcast. I'm your host, Strength and Speed owner Evan Preparis. Brenna's not on the line with me, but I do have another guest. Before we get to her, though, let's do a quick word from our sponsors. So this episode is brought to you by Enchanting Getaways, LLC. So they are a travel agency. It's owned by Nicole Willis, which is Matt Willis' wife, who's on the Conquer the Gauntlet Pro Team. And what's awesome about her is, because her husband is an OCR athlete, she understands kind of the needs of an OCR athlete when traveling. So, depending on who you are, you may not want to stay in the nicest place. Sometimes we want the cheapest place. Sometimes we need flights that are, kind of conducive to getting in and out of an area and still being able to go to the, the post-race party or the award ceremony or stuff like that. So she understands the OCR lifestyle. I just booked my first plane tickets with her to go to Tougher Mudder, LA, where I'm going to go hang out with Wesley Kerr, part of my Team Atomic teammate. And we're going to go do some multiple laps, get some good training in early in the season. So yeah, check out Enchanting Getaways. You can find them on Facebook. And there's a bunch of links on the CTG Pro Team website. Joining me today, I have Kelly Williams. Kelly Williams is on the Strength and Speed Development team, but she's also been on a ton of podiums. So I kind of just wanted to bring her on and showcase, one, some of her recent accomplishments at Bone Frog, and two, she's a pretty awesome person. So, Kelly, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Evan. Thanks for having me on.
Cool. Yeah, I'm going to read some more of your race highlights because some people may not know who you are. So I'm just going to run through 2018 results, right? So, Abominable Snow Race, first place, Female Masters. Battlegrounds, third place, Female Elite. Toughest Mudder Midwest, fifth place female overall, so qualified as an elite contender for World's Toughest Mudder. Green Beret Challenge, first place female, Tougher Mudder Chicago, fifth place female. North American Championship team event, fourth place team for the elite females. Chicago Spartan Beast, first place age group. Warrior Dash Kansas City, first place elite female. Green Beret Challenge, second place co-ed team. World's Toughest Mudder, 13th place female overall with 50 miles. And I know there's a great story that comes with that. So we're going to ask about that a little bit later.
Okay.
So first of all, let's talk Bone Frog. So I personally have never done a Bone Frog event. I have my first one scheduled for later this year. But yeah, so for those who don't know, I know there's multiple categories. There's challenge, there's tier 1, there's endurance. Tell people about the different categories and kind of what it's like.
Okay, this was actually my second time doing a Bone Frog. I did one 2 years ago previously, and I wanted a little redemption. So, but the different distances, there is a sprint distance, which is just like a 3 mile. There's the challenge distance, which is a 6 mile. The tier 1, which is a 9 mile. And then the endurance is a lap of the challenge course and then multiple laps of the sprint course for, I think it's like 7 hours or something, or 6 hours, total. And then they even have this Trident one as well, where you do the challenge course, the tier 1 course, and the sprint course. So there's a lot of options out there. But for endurance, there's a lot to it, the endurance races. I competed in the tier 1 elite event.
Awesome. Now, I know in the past they've done prizes where they do like big paddles, kind of like Battle Frog used to do back in the day. Are they still doing that?
No, I was really looking forward to getting like a paddle if I won or something. But no, there was no paddles. They were very cool. Like the overall award winners' medals were these huge, really cool design Battle Frog. Just a medal, yeah.
Yeah, their medals are awesome, and their Trident medal, which you're talking about, is preposterously large, right? It is obscene.
Yeah, I can't even explain it. It's like a winner's medal with 3 other medals underneath it, all connected and dangly.
So do they give you a medal for each one, and then you hang it off of the Trident thing, or is it like its own medal with like?
I only saw a completed one, so I'm not really sure. I think it comes just as one together if you finish the challenge that way.
Yeah, it's like a clothes hanger hanging from your neck with like medals
Yeah.
everywhere is what it
Yeah.
looks like. If you're one of the metal whores, one of the bling people, I would definitely
You
hit
would,
Bone Frog. Yeah.
yes, you would love the Trident medal.
So awesome. Now, what were some of their signature obstacles that kind of stood out to you?
They have a series of rigs. I would categorize them as rigs. One is called the Chopper, and that was a fun one. And then I can't remember the name of the other rig, but it had a kind of dangling monkey bars that curved up, and then you had to transition into these two like straps, almost like ratchet straps kind of hanging down with some loops in them, and then you had to transition to this other set of, they weren't monkey bars, but it was a traverse pole, but they were curved again. That was probably the most challenging rig obstacle, where a lot of people spent a lot of time. And then one at the very beginning of the challenge section got a lot of bans of some of the women. Basically, there's little loopy straps with like a little handle made out of PVC, but so they spin, and there's no lanes. It's all haphazard and different heights. So you're kind of running into other people while you're on it. That took a lot of the bans from some of the women, I think. And it was right at the beginning of the race too. But having done the race 2 years ago, I knew some of their signature obstacles, and I learned my lesson a while back. And so I knew what to do this time.
Awesome. Now, it is mandatory completion for Elite. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep. Mandatory completion. Yep.
And the tier 1 is a lap of it's a lap of the sprint and the challenge course. It's not like a separate 9-mile course. Is that correct?
No. And so there's some things that we repeated twice. So I had to repeat 2 of the more taxing rig obstacles. You had to do those twice. And the monkey bar, or they're black ops monkey bars that are way up in the air. Those you had to do twice. So there's some of the harder obstacles you had to repeat.
Yeah, and the black ops monkey bars that's, I would say, their
signature.
Yeah, that's their signature one. So you'll see all the people on Facebook. There's a giant American flag in the background. It makes for a really good picture.
That's what I'm saying. It's very, that race is super patriotic, and that's one of the reasons why I did it before. I thought it was awesome. They had some this time they had a little different. They had almost a fitness type of obstacle. We had to do dips, pull-ups, and burpees on a section. And the pull-ups, there was only 7. They had to be strict, which not too hard. But so each time you do a pull-up, you yell out the name of a fallen soldier. So they're written in front of you. So each dip that you do, like 30 of them, you call out the name of the fallen soldier. So you kind of read down the line every burpee. So that's kind of what they do in honor of the fallen soldiers. So that's something really unique with Bone Frog, and I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, I know they were founded and started by Navy SEALs. So obviously a lot of patriotism there. Before we get into my next question, explain to people what the chopper obstacle was that you mentioned earlier.
The chopper.
Yeah.
The chopper is an upper body rig obstacle. And it's a series of like spokes that spin around. It's almost like Savage Race's Wheel World, but there's just spokes on it. And with this one, there was like a spoked wheel and then a ring in between, a spoked wheel and a ring in between, which actually was easier than it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, it was just the spokes, like tons of them in a row. But you had to get your timing right. You had to get your weight shifting, or you get stuck on one of those wheels and kind of spin into no man's land.
Yeah, or if you have a long reach and are aggressive and comfortable.
Yep,
yeah.
I had some friends, my friend Dennis Pape, shout out to the training shop there. He was able to just skip the choppers completely. He could go ring to ring to ring because he has a huge reach.
Yeah, Doug Snyder, we just posted a video.
Yes. Yeah.
That has him skipping
awesome too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Yep. There's several people that did that. And everybody went back and played on it later and was trying.
That's awesome. Now, I know Bone Frog just announced they're going to do a joint event with Green Beret Challenge in Texas.
Yes, I heard that.
You planning on going to that?
I totally would, but I think it's the same date as World's Toughest Mudder.
That's what it is. Yep, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Otherwise, I definitely would have gone to that because I love Green Beret Challenge as well.
Yeah. Yeah, they announced it, and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome!" I was like, "What date is it? November?" Oh,
Yeah.
sad face, you know.
Agreed.
So speaking of World's Toughest Mudder,
Mm-hmm.
you got 50 miles, 13th place last year. Tell us a little bit about that, because I know there's an interesting story there.
Yes. So I had pitted for my boyfriend Jason the year before, so I kind of absorbed all of World's Toughest Mudder and did the 8 hours and some other ones in preparation for it. Did everything I was supposed to, and so during the race, I fractured my foot, one of the long bones in my foot. But most people know that the temperatures and stuff were super extreme, cold at this event. And at about 10 miles in the race, I felt, a sharp pain in my foot. But I said, well, just keep going, Kelly. Like, there's nothing. What are you going to do now? So I just kind of put it out of my mind. And eventually my foot stopped hurting. And so I didn't think about it. And then I made it through the 50 miles, which was, I had to do it no matter what, no matter how cold I was, no matter what I felt like. I knew that was my goal I wanted to accomplish. And so I went into the medical tent after I, checked out and turned in my, timing chip to warm up because I was really cold. And I took off my socks and I looked down at my feet and I was like, uh-oh. So and then one of the medical people came over and was like, uh-oh. So I had a huge dark bruise. Yeah. A huge dark bruise on my right foot. And then I had like 4 really gray toes.
That's always a good sign when the medical guy keeps his composure and he's like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah. And then they call some other people over and, they call another person over. And I work in healthcare and I was like, oh, that ain't good. So I did get shipped out. I mean, I finished the race and everything, but I ended up having a displaced fracture in my foot, which was really severe. And so it did a lot of damage with the soft tissue as well. And so my recovery was pretty long from that. I wasn't able to run for almost 12 weeks after World's Toughest Mudder. So to come back and win at Bone Frog this past weekend made me pretty happy.
Yeah, because that's like a month of it's essentially no training for 3 months and then a month of training.
Yeah, so my speed I wasn't super fast. However, a lot of the women had trouble with the obstacles, and I've been doing a lot of work the past 2 years with my obstacle proficiency and grip strength, and it's paid off.
So you said you felt a sharp pain during the event. Now I know once people start doing endurance racing, right? Like comes a point where everything kind of hurts on some level. So how did you tell the difference between, or could you tell the difference like this is an actual injury versus I'm just hurting from walking and running a lot? Like around what mile was it?
It was about mile 10.
Okay, that's early. That's really early.
Unfortunately, yeah. So I was still feeling everything at mile 10. It was only the second lap in. And I knew well enough that it was probably some sort of a stress, reaction possibly. But then coming off of some other obstacle later on, it just snapped at some point. I don't really know. That at that point, I'm sure it was just, a little something, but jumping down off a lot of those obstacles throughout the night did me in. But I like I said, I knew something was going on, but I knew that the mental preparation for that race and other things, you have to go someplace else. And I did. I just simply told myself I wasn't going to think about that. And I didn't shut it off.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely good advice. I mean, I guess we can question if it was
good and bad.
Yeah, we can question if it's safe enough to continue at that point. But
yeah,
and I don't want to tell people to push through pain regardless.
And neither do I. That's not my advice. But it was one of those races that I trained for a year, and I was like, I'm going till I can't go anymore. And then everybody hated the weather, but it was actually on my side. I was so frozen. Nothing swelled, nothing hurt because I couldn't feel it. So it allowed me to accomplish my goal and get 50 miles at that race. And I finished 13th place. I was just like astounded. So, the weather actually did me a favor by freezing my foot.
Yeah, no kidding. So let's talk a little bit about mindset on top of that. So a lot of people get injured and it's a devastating blow, right? Like it's the end of the world. Especially for a lot of people who take this sport very seriously, your life revolves around training and eating and racing and then travel. And that's why all your friends are in racing. So like all the Facebook posts are about racing. So
It's
how
hard.
did you mentally kind of overcome that? I guess part of it was lucky because it was at the end of the year, but
For sure. That was part of it. And I knew that I would need a whole lot of rest after World's Toughest Mudder anyways, just because I'd never done something for 24 hours before. That was the first time I ever did something that long. I really, I struggled a little bit. I'm not going to lie, but I took a few weeks just off of everything, and then I would slowly just go back into the gym, and I had a big boot on my foot. So, I would do all upper body stuff. And then eventually I was able to sit on a bike and put my foot with a boot on the bike. And then eventually I could get on the rower. But it was baby steps for sure. But I knew that I wasn't just sitting at home feeling sorry for myself. I was still at the gym, and people were like, "Oh my God, you came back you're at the gym." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I have 3 good limbs." Um, about a year or 2 years ago, I had another real severe injury, and most people thought that I would just quit or stop. And that was like in summertime, and I came back and, came back anyways, because what I do for a living is I'm a sports medicine physical therapist as well. So I have 17 years of experience rehabbing athletes. And so I have some pretty good insight on how hard to push something and when to back off for things. So that's what's helped me with my recovery is I have, I have the insight, but it's hard to do it with yourself though, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you have any other key takeaways, as someone who does this professionally, if any of our listeners are injured or, end up getting injured later this year, what advice do you have for them that you may not have already covered?
A lot of times people just wait too long to seek out help, whether it's from a physical therapist or a chiropractor or, a sports medicine doctor or a massage therapist. People they wait too long. And then sometimes they're 6 weeks into something that they could have found out was really severe injury and could have been fixed, or something that was very simple to fix, and they just tried to fix it themselves. So my best advice is to seek out help. If you're still having something that's nagging at a 2-week point, see somebody, ask somebody for advice, say, hey, who do you go to? Or like I said, whether it's physical therapy, chiropractor, your doctor, to get something started. Because most time people don't want to admit that they're really injured sometimes. And having somebody else look at it objectively is a good idea.
Yeah. I'd say from someone who does a lot of ultras, anytime I've finished a race and been like completely messed up, like 99% of things go away in 72 hours. So
yes,
I think I've told the story on the podcast before. I did my first 100-miler and I finish and I'm just decimated, right? Like I can't even walk forwards anymore. I'm walking backwards. That's the only way I can walk with any sort of speed. When I went to the airport, they were wheeling me through the airport on a wheelchair because I couldn't walk. And my mom was like, "You need to go to the hospital." And I was like, "I'm not going to the hospital because when they point at something and goes, does this hurt? I'm going to say yes, because my whole body hurts, right? Like
yes,
everything's swollen, everything hurts.
You got to let it kind of settle first and see where you're at. So yeah, some people jump the gun right away. I twisted my ankle. What do I do? I'm like, just relax for a few days.
Right. Yeah. Usually within 72 hours, I can tell if it's going to be anything serious. And then let's say some of the exceptions was my own World's Toughest Mudder injury story. So this year, Saturday before World's Toughest Mudder, so we're about 8 days out. I'm standing in the lobby of a hotel that I'm staying at for work, talking to some friends, and I'm like, "Oh, my ankle feels weird. That's odd." So it was completely fine the day before. I wake up the next morning for like my last long, 10, 12 mile run, and I can't run more than a mile. Like I'm in something's wrong with my foot and I'm in pain. Right. And I'm in at this point, we got like 7 days to World's Toughest. I'm in like full panic mode.
Yeah.
So I started like emailing my friends, Jared Renier and William Shell, both on the strength and speed development team, about, what can I do? And they're giving me some advice. So I take 2 days off, try to run again. I can't run. At this point,
Oof.
I'm like, all right, I need to go to the hospital like now. So I went to the hospital. They gave me ibuprofen and corticosteroids, right? And I
Okay.
was so like, I was like, well, I technically have a doctor note, so I should be allowed to take this. But I was so like paranoid. I was like, all right, I'm not
Oh,
taking
with the
it.
medications.
Yeah, I'm not taking it at all. So I took the ibuprofen and that was it.
Oh,
And
wow.
and it was something where like I could tell I'd be fine in another week, but I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have a week. I
You
had
didn't have
3
it.
days.
Yeah.
So it ended up, it was just ibuprofen and rest and some icing and me sitting on my butt for a couple of days. It ended up going, whatever was wrong with my foot, went back to normal. And during World's Toughest, a couple of times, like I stepped weird and I could feel the same like shooting pain. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know something was inflamed. I don't know what it was. It went away. So
That's good. But
yeah.
yeah, sometimes you don't have time to wait either. You have to figure out what's going on if you've got a big event coming up.
Yeah. And that's the one nice thing about being in the military, and we had pretty good access to medical treatment. And then on top of that, the doctor who saw me was a special forces guy, so he could understand where I was coming from. I was like, listen, I know I'll be fine in 2 weeks. Like I need to be fine in 3 days, And he's like, yeah, I got you. I was like, okay.
It's awesome. I remember you telling me that story at Worlds. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I didn't tell anyone ahead of time because I was just like I was completely freaking out, and I went completely black on social media. I mean, most people won't remember that, but like I stopped looking at social media for the whole week just because I
Yeah,
was, it was just like increased my anxiety level. But
for sure.
and I know you had some other, you kind of mentioned it before. You've had some other pretty significant injuries in OCR. I
Yeah, I
guess
did.
tell us a little bit about that and how you came back from that
I
one.
know. So I think it was July of 2017. I was at a frontline OCR and made a dumb mistake. And I was doing a rope kind of thing and I had gloves on and I just didn't take my gloves back off to do this next thing. And it was like a for real Irish table, not the kind that you can like put your legs around, but with the flat top on it. And I'm very short. And so some things that are tall are difficult for me to do. And basically I got up and slipped and I fell about 7 or 8 feet onto my head and my neck and shoulder. And I didn't move. I laid there because I knew something bad happened. I had instantaneous pain in my neck. I had an instant headache. And I knew something was bad. And luckily one of my teammates at the time and Kevin Resick is an athletic trainer too. And he came by and took off my 15-pound weight vest because it had Velcro straps on top. And he could tell that I shattered my clavicle, my collarbone. So what ended up happening is I shattered my collarbone. I had a herniated disc, 2 spots on my neck. I had a superior end plate compression fracture, which that's real sciencey sounding, but it's a small compression fracture on the top of one of the vertebrae. And then I had a concussion as well. So that was a pretty big injury to come back from. And that was in July. And I
Yeah,
had
I
already
remember that was like right in the middle of OCR season. I
Yeah,
remember.
I was just like, that was a bummer. I couldn't even run for 4 weeks because of my arm. I couldn't even do that either. So that was, I lost a lot more ground on that injury. But OCR WC was in Canada that year. And I'd already qualified at the Battlegrounds, I think in May. And so my goal come hell or high water was to go to OCR WC. I knew I wasn't going to finish with my band. But it was like 16 weeks post-op. And I remember, when I finished the monkey bars at OCRWC and you would have thought I won the lottery, because I couldn't do anything with my arm. Like I couldn't hang from it. Like I just started doing some of that stuff at 16 weeks. So that was a really long recovery. And then actually the neck issue kind of haunted me for about a year. a lot of weakness and stuff into my left arm from the nerve injury from the disc. So, and I'm a master's athlete. And so I think, you think sometimes things take longer to heal up or whatever, but something that I want people to know is you can come back from injuries and you can get back to and do better than you did before. This year at Bone Frog, I won the female elite category. 2 years ago, I got my band cut, and I'm older and I've been injured twice since then.
Right. Two serious injuries.
Yeah, it's really a mindset. It's staying positive. I'm a realist, but I know that positive thinking and do the work and you'll reap the rewards from it. So I'm still enjoying everything. And yeah.
Yeah, I think there's some great lessons there, especially seeing you come back essentially stronger than you were before. I know if I get something, most of my injuries are pretty passing. I don't really have anything serious besides tore my pec a couple of years ago. But that's pretty much it for the last, 20 years of working out. And
yeah, I've never really had any like overuse injuries, so which is good because most people, what we do with ultra endurance and things like that, people tend to have those overuse injuries. I just seem to have something catastrophic happen.
I find that sometimes if I get like a minor injury, then I can't train for a little bit, and I come back mentally stronger because I've experienced what it feels like when you're not allowed to train, and then you can be more appreciative when you're like, all right, it's 5 a.m. and I feel sorry for myself that I'm getting up for a run, but at least I can run, right? At least I'm not injured or something like that. So
the first few times back running was really scary because I didn't want to re-injure my foot. And, I remember I went down to St. Louis and Jason and I went running and I was like, I just ran 5 miles. I'm like, that feels so awesome, and I know I can run 50 miles, but it lights a fire in you. It makes you appreciate what you have and what you can do when you can't do it.
Right. You mentioned you're a master's athlete. Do you feel like you've had to change anything in your training kind of as you've gotten older?
Yeah. I would say the recovery process, just it has to be more on point, meaning I'm someone I've just learned that I need sleep. Sleep is something for me that has helped me heal tremendously. And then, nutrition, the timing of nutrition, those sorts of things. I don't know, maybe I'm just wiser as I get older, but to me, those things come more into play with recovery is taking the time needed to recover. But for me, it's sleep and nutrition and hydration. Those sorts of things have, I pay more attention to them because they seem to make more of a difference with my abilities now.
Yeah, sounds like great advice. I know, just from looking at some of my peers, all the micro decisions you make day to day become cumulative. So, if you're in your 20s and you're making bad micro decisions like not sleeping a lot or not eating right, it usually doesn't really have that big of an impact because, you've only been doing them for a couple of years versus if you're 40 and you've been drinking every night and, getting 6 hours of sleep a night, those cumulative micro decisions add up. And, a lot of those guys who were not as kind of strict or sticking to their diet or their sleep schedule that I used to train with, a lot of them are significantly out of shape now. And I feel like I'm getting better and stronger and faster every year. So
yeah, that's what I said. I mean, I've gained a lot of strength in my upper body, and I'm a woman and I'm getting older. So sometimes it's like beating your head against the wall. I will say, this time with the foot, my speed is, that's really lacking. So my next block of training is going to work on getting my speed back up because I'm confident in my aerobic ability and my distance. But I'm not fast enough yet.
Well, you do have some pretty good results that I read off at the beginning. Let's talk about some of the smaller race series you've done. So you've done the Abominable Snow Race. You did that in 2018, so you didn't do this past one. Give people some of your thoughts on the Abominable Snow Race, because I was there that year also.
I really enjoy some of the smaller race series. It feels, a little more personal, and when the people that put on the races and stuff too, it makes it a little bit more fun. Definitely very challenging on a ski hill with snow and, you don't know what you're going to get either. Is it going to be freezing or, sleet and snow? So I like those different like challenges put in there. Sometimes the crappier the conditions, the better I might do on some races like that. But the Abominable Snow Race was very fun. There's a lot of fast people there last year too.
Yeah, it's like the only race in the Midwest during that time of year. So
yeah,
like,
so everybody goes.
yeah.
This year I couldn't. My daughter had a gymnastics competition that weekend.
Yeah, I think Bracken Cracker won the last 2 years in a row.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I believe. So, yeah, and I think Jordan Buscemi, who's we've had on this podcast before, who's super fast, got like second or third in 2018. John Penland was one of the other guys on the podium. And I think this year he finished fourth, which like I can't even remember a non like national series race that he hasn't been on the podium.
Yes. So
there's
pretty
crazy.
And that's what's good about it too. It draws some, big names. So that's really fun for, people like us who just, I love seeing the top end athletes at races.
Right on. What else do you have planned for 2019 as far as kind of more unique races?
Unique races? I don't think I'm doing any like real small race series ones except in September I'm going to do the Highlander Assault, which is a smaller race series here in Chicago.
Oh, that one looks good.
Yeah.
I've had that on my schedule the last 2 years, and I always have like I think Conquer the Gauntlet conflicts with it this year.
Yeah, so that's one of the smaller local races that I'm going to be doing. I've got Tough Mudders and Spartans. Most of those are covering the rest of my race series, and then I'll do World's Toughest Mudder in November. That's the big one again.
Nice. You doing Toughest Mudders too, the 12-hour one?
I'm going to do the Midwest Toughest in July, and that's in Minnesota, I believe. Yep, I'll be at that one.
Cool. Yep, I'll be there. Should be fun.
So yeah, I've got about a race a month over the summer until November. Sounds
good. Now I know you're also a representative for Neptune and FNX Sports Supplements. So give us a little bit of rundown on those.
Yeah, Neptune performance system. That is your way to stay warm in any condition. So it's a system of it's comprised of a shirt that has the ability for the hot hands packs to go into these waterproof pouches. So you can put the heaters all around your core, and you can use 2 or 6 of them, however many you want to. But even when you're wet, going in and out of those, mud pits and whatnot, it was with OCR races, you have the ability to stay warm, and that product has saved me. I got frozen on a few races several years ago, and I have not frozen since I started using the Neptune performance product. I really like that. FNX Sport Nutrition, some of the supplements that I use, they have awesome, how they make their product to the ingredients. You can see how many grams of stuff is in there. It's not just says, their proprietary blend with, pixie dust in. I've really, in it, like I said, as a master's athlete, I take nutrition and supplements and those sorts of things very seriously. And I've tried a lot of different products, and that one just seems to work the best for me. So definitely those 2 things I use all the time.
Awesome. I've not tried FNX sports supplements, but I am a big fan of the Neptune shirt, obviously. I wear it at all my toughest and world's toughest events and cold weather OCRs. So whether you head over to Jason Rulo's Neptune Performance actual page, and you can pick it up there. And we also sell it on the Strength and Speed website. And I used to have a $10 off code on there. I think it expired now, but try to get that back up and working for you if anyone wants to order that. So this year you also, I know you've represented a couple different brands in the past. You're on the Battlegrounds team. You're now on Alpha Racing and also the Speed development team. So the development team, I think we have a pretty wide range of athletes from, people who are more beginners trying to get a little bit better at the sport all the way up to higher end athletes like yourself. So tell us a little bit about strength and speed development team for those who don't know kind of what it is?
Well, I was first, found out about it after I met you. I can't remember exactly when we met. And then I heard about the strength and speed, the performance thing, and I saw that, you guys kind of put a team together. And I saw that it was, like you said, groups of all different sorts of people, obviously like-minded with obstacle course racing, but different people can bring different things to the table to help with, nutrition or training and different things like that. And I love all of the different discussions that people have, and it being an interesting group that way. It really, I respect you a lot and everything you've done in the OCR world. And I thought if I wanted to be on a team and help represent something, something that you did, I thought was pretty fantastic.
Cool. Well, thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
there is a lot of great advice. I mean, you just look at your
Mhm.
resume alone, and that's a lot of value added to the group. And then we have William Shellen there, who's a physical therapist. We have Luke
Mhm.
Labonte, who's the Conquer the Gauntlet Pro
Yeah.
Team dietitian. He's in there. Jared Renier from J Run Fitness is in there. And then we have a whole bunch of, Justin's CrossFit Level 1 certified. And I
Yeah,
mean,
there's so much knowledge in there, and it's enjoyable having discussions with everybody.
I feel like almost half the group or more has some sort of fitness certification, whether
Hmm.
it be, NSCA or NASM or something else. I feel like
Yeah,
almost everyone there. So we do get some good discussions. Also like to have a little fun in there. So occasionally post funny things in there. But
for sure.
and I try to post weekly workouts in there too. So if you want to get into the development team, we do applications in January of each year,
Hmm.
where you can apply and then get in. If you don't want to wait till January, essentially there's a pay for entry, which I just actually modified on the site. I was having it as like a monthly type thing, and I just kind of switched it to a, single payment, kind of get you in the door. So just kind of a way to, we keep the group small and close knit without it getting too big, and then you get the problems you have in the other OCR groups where there's, one person asks a question, you get 50 answers, and
50
half,
answers.
half,
Yeah.
half of them are bad. A quarter
Yes.
of them are good, and a quarter of them are, like, I guess you can do that if it's probably not going to hurt, but
For sure. But yeah, and that's one of the reasons I like the just obstacle course racing and OCR. It really, for me on an intellectual level too, uh, it definitely makes me think about things. It's helped me with my job and my career and working with athletes, and it's helped me get into some niche clientele, even in the kind of the little place where I live in Illinois. Everybody knows that I'm the OCR athlete
oh,
and
nice.
also a sports medicine physical therapist. So, when anything comes to running or training, those are the type of patients that I get to see.
Yeah, that is good because there's a different
Yeah.
mind. You get a different mindset with athletes than you do with the average person who just gets injured.
Yes, for sure.
I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
I could see it at work where you know, the the trainers we had that would work with us. You could be very honest with them, and be like, "Here's what I want to do." Like, all right, I'm injured. I'm gonna run a 50K in 3 weeks, and they're like, "Okay, I should tell you not to do that, but let's figure out a way that we can make this safe, or
Right.
at least as safe
Because
as possible."
we know you're still going to do it. So let's, yeah, you got to put a band-aid on it for now. Or, yeah,
Yeah.
there's some people I'll shut them down too. I'll say, no, you need to make a different goal for later on in the season or something. But
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Like when I tore my pec, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do a 50K in like a month. And he's like, well, does it hurt when you run? And I was like, no. And he's like, okay, then that's fine. But don't do anything stupid, like try to catch yourself into a push-up position after you fall.
Yes. Not a
Just
good
eat it
idea.
when you hit the ground, right? Just like face plant. We'll worry about that later. So yeah. Kelly, well, thanks for coming on. It's been great talking to you. Before we let you go, any final shout outs you want to give to friends, family, sponsors, etc.? We haven't covered already, or again?
Or Oregon. Yeah. First off, I'd like to give a shout out to Jason Rulo and Neptune Performance Products, of course. I don't just say that because he's my boyfriend, but it's a great product too. Um, FNX Sport Nutrition for my supplements, and then also Kyle Long with Apex Athlete. That's who I do all of my remote training with. And he is an obstacle course racer and a ultra runner. So he's got a lot of knowledge, and he's really helped me over the last 3 years, to improve my ability. So I give a lot of credit to him and his training programming. And of course, my family for always supporting me in my crazy endeavors in OCR.
Awesome. Sounds like you have a good support structure there, helping you out and helping you crush your goals. And obviously you're doing very well. So
thank you.
Great talking to you. Before I let everyone go, we'll do a quick announcement as far as stuff to look out for me. So in addition, if you haven't been following OCR World Championships, please start following them. Check their website on the news section. I'm publishing almost weekly articles through them. Some of them are opinion-based. Some of them are a little more information you need to know if you're going to Enduro, NORAM, or OCR World Championship type stuff. And speaking of, less popular races like Bone Frog, or, one-off races like Abominable Snow Race, Frontline OCR, you can head over to the Team Strength Speed website. We just opened pre-order for my newest book. It's called Mud Run Guides Ultra-OC. I'm sorry, that's not the name of it. It's I shouldn't start two books.
Your other book.
Yeah, I have two books that start exactly the same, and I'm so used to saying the other one. So the new book is called Mud Run Guides OCR Bucket List, right? So it is a book, and it has a list of, it's 100, and I think we're up to like 130 or so different ideas / events that you can do, if you want to kind of try something new. So some of them, like I'll give you kind of a rundown of some of the chapters, right? So there's one about swag. So if you're in it for the medals, there's a list of races that have absolutely great medals. There's one about persistence. So things like Savage Syndicate or Tough Mudder Legionnaire or Trifecta, stuff like that, where you can show up to multiple races and get like a nice medal or essentially achievement for that. There's one about history. So going back to the original roots of some of these brands. So example, Conquer the Gauntlet's Tulsa race. There's information about the reality shows that have had OCR included. There's information about challenge yourself. So things that if you're looking for the next level challenge, like keeping your band at a certain series, has some recommendations there. It has 24-hour OCRs as another chapter. OCR Plus, which is like OCR plus CrossFit or plus weighted carriers or plus triathlon, things like that. Local races, which I think is the best chapter in the book. It covers things like the Abominable Snow Race, Highlander, which we mentioned, Frontline OCR. So all these races that do one-off, Indian Mud Run, things like that have these absolutely great events with these great followings, and they cost about a third of the price of some of the bigger brands. And I think you get a better experience, my personal opinion there. OCRs with great parties, international travel, if you can win it all. So if you're a podium contender, some races where you can win some pretty cool stuff, and kind of coverage of the championship races, kind of what makes them different and a little bit about their history. So that book is called Mud Run Guides OCR Bucket List. It is now open for pre-order, and we should be starting to ship them to you in April. So you'll have them in hand by the end of April. The coolest thing about that is it's not just me writing it. I obviously put the majority of the work in, but we had contributions from basically a dozen plus people. Some of them submitted pictures. Some of them wrote from their personal experiences a lot of these different events. So whenever it was possible, we actually got someone who physically went to each event and to give you essentially a recap of it. So yeah, I think it's a great book, obviously, and it highlights actually every OCR World Championship and North American OCR Championship qualifying event in the USA. So the book is heavily based around USA races, since that's where most of our experience lies, but it does cover some international ones and some destination races like Bermuda Triple Challenge and stuff like that. So head over, check that out. A couple weeks ago, Mike Stefano from Obstacle Running Adventures posted an Instagram thing, and it said, if you want more OCR books, you need to support the ones that are out. So this is another OCR book. And if you also pick this one up, in the back, there is a one-page kind of preview of the next project I'm working on, which will be out also later in 2019. So that's all I will give you for that.
Well, that book sounds awesome. That will be like of historical value someday as well. And
Yeah.
someone goes back, like looks back at all the races and the smaller series and stuff to remember them by. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. So I also kept some of the races that actually went out of business. I kept some of them in the book. And the reason I kept some of them in the book is, one, there's always a possibility that there's a new investor that comes along, right?
Right.
And resurrects Battle Frog. Probably not going to happen. Two, I think there's lessons to be learned from that, whether that be, going too big too fast or just some of their ideas, right? Like just because a company went out of business doesn't mean every idea they had was bad. I think you can cherry pick some of their good ideas and be behind some of their bad ideas. And then on top of that, some of these smaller, especially the smaller ones, go out of business, not because they're losing money, but just because it's not worth the time or effort, right? If you're spending, hundreds of man hours every year and you finish a race and you may like, you're not making a living wage off of it, you still might be making money, but maybe that is, it's more time and effort than it's worth. So
yeah, I think that's what you see with some of the local ones or the small ones, but some of them they're awesome. Like Battlegrounds is no longer, I love that one, but different reasons for not having them anymore. A Dirt Runner, another one. I did lots of years at Dirt Runner.
Yeah, that's the first time I remember meeting you was at Dirt Runner.
Yeah, I think so.
And I know Taki has plans to take Dirt Runner on the road. So we're hoping.
I guess that permanent course is what I was talking about.
Yeah, the permanent course is gone.
Yeah.
But there are still, there's also a chapter on permanent courses, which includes things like Noob Sanity. Again, we've had Jarrett Newby on here before, but he puts an absolutely great event and great obstacle series in his backyard, which sounds ridiculous until you actually see the course, and then you're like, oh, no, this is legit. Like this is better than some big brands I've been to as far as quality of obstacles here. So yeah, go ahead and check that out. Give it a pre-order, and I will make sure it's in your hand by the end of April. And a lot of Mud Run Guide contributions there, and a bunch of the Strength and Speed athletes contributed pictures, and some of the Conquer the Gauntlet Pro team also contributed pictures and some content there. So it's going to be a good one. All right, Kelly, thanks again for joining me, and I will see you, I don't know, when's the next time I see you?
I don't know. Are you doing Toughest Midwest?
Yeah.
Okay. It might be July. I don't know. Hopefully before then. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll be at a lot of CTGs and Tough Mudder related stuff this year.
Yeah, I'm doing. Yeah, in May I have a Tough Mudder in Missouri.
All right. Well, I'll see you around.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.